Good afternoon, everyone. It's certainly a rainy day, but I see a lot of smiles in here because today is a special day in Rutherford County, something that's been anticipated for almost 2 years now. We've been working to make this dream become a reality. As I told Channel 4 downstairs a minute ago, we've taken a gym and actually turned it into a crown jewel. If you haven't been downstairs yet and gone through we have 5 rooms, I guess, in our museum now. And so we're extremely excited about the historic museum coming into the historic courthouse. And so after we invited all the VIP reception from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, for all those businesses and vendors around the square. We wanted to give them first look because they're the ones that will be most impacted by the tourists that come downtown, and we hope that they'll be able to shop and eat and spend time and look around our beautiful campus here at the courthouse. But before we get into the program, it's going to be short, so we'll let you go back downstairs and look again. But at this point in time, I'd like to call on Pastor Alan Jackson, World Outreach Church, to come forward. He's going to say a prayer and bless this courthouse and the leaders that are in it, and that we give thanks to this special time of year. Pastor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What a wonderful blessing for our community. By understanding our history, I'm quite certain we improve our future. Will you bow with me in prayer? Father, we thank you for this day and the privilege and freedom we have of gathering together. I thank you for your faithfulness in watching over this community and the many blessings that you have provided to us. And as we gather today to remember the past that you have watched over, we ask you to guide us in the season ahead. May we make choices that will bring your great blessings to us and allow us to live together in harmony and unity so that the very best might come to our children and our grandchildren. We thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jackson. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't through the grace of God that has allowed us to continue to grow as a community and be now the 4th largest county in Tennessee. Because I believe we got short counted on the latest census. We're actually 5th, but I think we're only 20,000 away, aren't we, Miss Kelly, from taking over Hamilton County. So, but we got a lot to offer here in Rutherford County. So today, very quickly, we've got a few speakers that want to say a few words. I'd like to call on Miss Mary Watkins, President of African American Heritage Society of Rutherford County. Mary? Please come forward.
Good evening. I just want to thank God for allowing this opportunity for me to be here, and also to Mayor Ketron, Dr. Van West, and John Lowell to afford me this opportunity to come and just tell you a little bit about the African American Heritage Society. We was organized in 2014 because we felt like it was very important that we research our history, and when we started, we found out a lot of our history had already gone to the grave that we did not record. So we decided to organize and do some research. We're teaching ourselves, and we have uncovered a lot of information about the African American in this community that we did not know about. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be here. And if you saw the case there on Holloway High School, that is materials that was donated to the African American Heritage Society, and we decided, we want to thank, like I said, Dr. West and John Lowell for wanting us to share that information about Holloway High School. And if anybody wants to join the African American Heritage Society, we would be glad to have you, because we need all we can get, because there is a lot of information. And I feel like it's important for all of us to know the part that the African Americans did contribute to this community, because like I said, a lot of it is not visible for us to find. I'm also a genealogist where I'm self-taught, where I do a lot of research, and that's where I've come across a lot of things that I just didn't know about. My own family history and other families in this community. And I have some of the members of the African American Heritage Society here, and I'm glad to see them. And again, thank you for affording me this opportunity to be here.
Next, I'd like to call on Rutherford County's Public Information Officer, Ms. Ashley McDonald, and she is the County Commission's voice and sits as a representative on the Main Street organization. Ashley.
Thank you. Speaking on behalf of Main Street Organization as a board member and volunteer, I'd like to share just how excited Main Street is for this cultural asset to be added to our historic downtown. We look forward to the sense of place it will establish, not only for those in our county, but as well as those tourists that will be coming here to learn about our rich history. Main Street's mission is to maintain, enhance, and to promote the downtown area as the heart of the community. It is the center for government, arts, churches, and financial institutions, and creates an important space where members of all segments of the community can meet for business and/or entertainment. Having a museum in the historic courthouse brings added value to the county and enhances tourism efforts in our community. For the past 36 years, the Main Street Organization has been instrumental in partnering with Rutherford County government, Murfreesboro City government, small business owners, and the community at large in decisions affecting the downtown district. We want to thank Dr. West, John Lodell, and Mayor Ketron for collaborating on this project that accurately paints the historical landscape of our community and its rich heritage. We also acknowledge the hard work that county staff have endured to update and showcase the historic courthouse both inside and out. Main Street benefits from the courthouse as an extraordinary backdrop for our community events, and we commit to promoting and supporting this museum and tourism in the historic downtown area through our continued partnership with Rutherford County government.
Next, I'd like to call on Chairman, County Commissioner Pettis Reed. Pettis is not only chairman of our Public Safety Committee on the County Commission, but he's also the newly elected, as of week before last, chairman of the Rutherford County Historical Society.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, when you put a politician before a microphone and this many happy constituents, it's sort of dangerous, because usually when we're standing up here, we don't see this many smiles. But today is so good to see so many of you out today, happy about something that's going on right here in our county. You know, as far as history is concerned, this is a class act, I think is what you're seeing today. I remember my first experiences with history was as a small boy, riding on the back of an old horse headed up to a field to plow with my father. We're going to plow corn, and I was sitting behind the hames of that old horse as we'd go up there, and as he would hook it up, I would ride behind the hames until I got too tired, until he also dug up too many corn plants, and he'd put me behind it, putting those plants back up. But as I'd go through those furrows, I'd also, with my bare feet, kick up history of Rutherford County. Within those rows, I'd find broken horseshoes. I'd find old parts of old wagons that had come down the Columbia Dirt Road that had also gone through that field. Also, within that field, I'd find interesting things, somewhat like what I have in my pocket today. I'd find the arrow points from Native Americans that had been here before us. And at that small age, I became interested in what's happening here in Rutherford County. I had a grandmother that just so happened is when we would be sitting on the back porch breaking beans in a summer day, it wasn't work, it was interesting to sit there and listen to her as she would tell things about that she witnessed, as well as her mother and grandmother, because they actually witnessed the war of 1861 to 1865. From there, it went on into this boy as he went on further, and Rutherford County became a part of him, just as it is with you. And I think what you'll see in this museum here is an opportunity for generations today who don't have that opportunity to walk a corn furrow, to kick up history with their bare feet. But today they can come within this courthouse, a courthouse built in 1859 at the cost of $40,000, which I think a county commission today would love to have a courthouse built at $40,000. But yet, generations to see Rutherford County, that in this museum we take from these arrow points to today's cell phones and see how Rutherford County has changed this many times. I'd just like to say on behalf of the Rutherford County Historical Society, thank you to a mayor that had the sight to see what we are needing here in this county when these offices became vacant, rather than putting something else of something that we do here in the county. But he saw the vision of a museum for those generations, for people who are coming to this county who do not know this county but want to know more. They now can do it right here in Rutherford County. Thank you to all of you that were involved in the creation of it, and I can see nothing but great things for it. Thank you, and God bless you.
Next, we have our county historian, Rutherford County Historian Greg Tucker. Greg, please come forward.
I can't count the number of times that people over the last decade have come up to me and said, you know, we need a local museum. How come we don't have a local museum? A couple of years ago, a friend of mine decided to run for county mayor, and I thought, now's my chance. So I approached Bill Ketron and said, hey, have you ever thought about a local county museum? And he says, yeah, and he laid out about 10 minutes worth of plans and even gave me his rationale for it. He was about 3 steps ahead of me. Now we got a museum. Don't ever believe that some politicians don't deliver on what they promise. And on the museum itself, the most impressive artifact to me is the courthouse itself, which is really what prompted us to talk about a museum. What can we do with a historic courthouse? It had a rough 100 years, though. The first 100 years for this courthouse was a challenge. 4 years after it was dedicated and put in use, a Yankee tried to burn it down and kill about 200 of our local citizens who were imprisoned in the courthouse. Nathan Bedford Forrest dealt with him rather summarily. In 1908, a rogue building committee decided that they didn't really care for the way the courthouse looked, took off the top half of the courthouse and changed the appearance completely. We didn't lose our courthouse, but you know, for the next 30 years, I can track in the newspaper, they still argue about whether it was an improvement or a loss. In 1938, the county court, what we now call the county commission, voted to demolish our courthouse. The reason being it was terribly deteriorated coming through the Depression, and a couple of architects out of Nashville, experts, told them that it wasn't worth putting money into it. It was too far gone. And there was a federal grant available that would cover about 80% of the cost of the new building. Fortunately, the county commission, county court at that time, couldn't come up with the extra 20%. And after 2 years, we find ourselves in a war situation. So I tell people sometimes, our courthouse was saved by December 7th, 1941. Interesting, the first time the Japanese had a dramatic effect on our county. And then in 1960, we ran out of space, desperate for more space for county offices. For the first time, though, the citizens stood up and said, wait a minute, this is history. We want to preserve our history. A lady by the name of Sarah King, some of you may remember Sarah King, led the charge and said, no, we want to preserve history. And then I'm proud to say there was a young architect, a Marine veteran, who came forward and said, we can preserve the courthouse and look at the courthouse and give you another 10 office room, space for another 10 rooms. And my father, Bernie Tucker, designed and added the north and south wings of the courthouse. Today we have a museum, but we've always had the historic courthouse. If I might, I'd like to introduce a friend of mine who was part of the early development of the idea for a museum. And I know we all made an effort to be here, but he made a really special effort to be here. Marty Luffman, give us a wave.
Marty, you want to say something? You want to say something?
Oh, my chair will go up. You don't have to do that just for me.
Shows how the thing works.
I've just got to tell you what an honor it is to be sitting in this room. I'm the Smyrna Historian, and recently I was elected to the board of directors for the Rutherford County Historical as a liaison between Smyrna and the Rutherford County Historical. But to be sitting here in this room where all of the history that he just spoke of has taken place is overwhelming. It's beyond comprehension for me to be sitting here. I almost said standing, isn't that a joke? So, but it's overwhelming to be here in this very historical occasion that we now have a museum in the heart of Murfreesboro in this wonderful, wonderful building. The stories this building could tell us that aren't documented are unfathomable. It's still just a tremendous occasion for me, and I'm very much appreciative of it, and I'm very thankful to be on the board here with Rutherford County and to help promote the history of the building and the county itself, and especially Smyrna. I love Smyrna with all its sunshine and palm trees. Where's Bart?
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Let's all keep making history. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is John Lodell. John is our archivist for Rutherford County. Teaches part-time at MTSU, still can't get away from it. He just has to go out there and impart his knowledge to our younger people who are learning. John, please come forward.
Hey y'all, how we doing? Most of y'all know me, and the mayor said the word brief speakers. So I'm gonna try. But there's, my name keeps getting mentioned as, being a part of making this museum happen, but, I'm just part of a smaller piece of this, right? There's several people we need to thank, and a lot of people have been thanked to get us where we are here today, both in terms of the vision, the foresight, Mayor Ketron especially here recently saying, let's do this, and then the mayor calling Dr. West to lead a team, not just one or two people, to say, let's get this done. And who better than our state historian, right? And there's a few people I want to thank because you won't see their names on the plaques downstairs or mentioned in brochures down the road. So I want to make sure we call attention to the county maintenance department, the unsung heroes that moved walls for us, literally, When we asked them to paint the walls, to make them look fresh, they reminded us they were 12 feet high. We told them we need to redo the crown molding because, the stuff's in there looks like 1970s, not 1860. And they said, they don't make that anymore. And we said, yeah, just go do it. So I did take them donuts on Friday. I hope they still like me tomorrow. But they did an amazing job. Right, Mayor? And then I also want to call it, and I also want to mention Megan Moore. Megan was a longtime employee of the county. She recently resigned, but she stayed on our team. She wanted to make sure that the graphics in the museum looked phenomenal, and they do. So when you go through and see any of the images, graphics, the wall murals, that was all Megan Moore making sure that happened. So I don't know where she's sitting. She's here somewhere. There's fingers going that way. Thank you, Megan. We really do appreciate it. And putting the museum together recently, I'm reminded of two things. One is community, and one is the word unique. In terms of community, we were putting the artifacts in the past couple weeks, and we're opening the museum with a set of artifacts, certain collections. There will be more coming down the road. Many of you have things that we want to share with the community. But in putting these things in, just about every collector are like, well, we want to attribute this to you. And they're like, no. Put my kids' name on it. Put my grandkids' names on it. It is their stuff, not mine. When I'm gone, it's theirs. And so that just reminded me that the museum is community. We have a story to tell. Not me, not Dr. West, not the mayor individually. It's all of us. We're the team. So we have a story to tell together. And the unique story, what makes Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, Eagleville, Milton, what makes these places unique? What makes this county and this community unique? What is going to help us tell that story? And so in selecting the things that went into the museum, you will see that. Pieces of furniture. Everybody grew up with, grandma's chest of drawers. We have 3 of them, I've lost count. 3 of them down there, maybe 2. And so what's so unique about that? Well, these were made in Rutherford County. These were crafted in Rutherford County, early 1800s. Open a drawer, not really, but open a drawer. Look at the dovetailing. Look at the uniqueness of it. Look at the pieces that are handcrafted right here by our citizens, our skilled peoples, our workers to make this museum happen. Look at the things on the wall. Look at the uniqueness of what makes Rutherford County a little different. So we appreciate all of you for being part of our team. As we move forward, this is just the beginning. This is going to be a living history museum. It will evolve with time. So we look forward to working with all of you all. We hope you enjoy your museum.
Save the best for last. So a few years ago, when I was still in the state senate, had an opportunity to serve on a committee. It took me a long time to pronounce this word, but it was the Sesquicentennial Committee, because the state was ramping up to celebrate statewide the Sesquicentennial. And on that committee was Dr. Carol Van West. And we had kind of parted ways. Van and I grew up, he was on Elliott Street and I was on Shelley Street, and his mother was my 4th grade math teacher at Mitchell Nilsson. So we kind of grew up together, but we kind of parted ways and went on high school. He followed me in high school. He's a little bit younger than I am, and I'm in between he and his brother. And his brother Hammerhead, if you recall, Andrew, his nickname. But when the opportunity came along while we were on that committee, the sitting state historian chose to retire. And I went to the governor at that time and told him that somebody from Rutherford County needs to be that state historian, and that is Dr. Carol Van West. And so he has served us and still continuing to serve us with what he does at Middle Tennessee State University. And he's well-renowned all around the country for his knowledge of history. And when I stepped forward and asked him and tasked him with this job of putting the museum here in the historic courthouse, he didn't hesitate. He stepped forward and he said, I'm just honored to do that. Someplace that he actually lives and works and grew up in, and this is home. So without further ado, Dr. West.
Good afternoon, Rutherford County. We need to celebrate some here today, because what's been accomplished is really something that so many people didn't expect to happen. Now, I think all of us involved knew it could happen. But, you know, there's always people who want to say, well, Murfreesboro, well, Rutherford County, you know, isn't that part of Nashville? No. You know, I'm proud of Nashville. Proud it's the state capital. But I'm really proud of Rutherford County and what we do here on a daily basis with our history. The vision of Mayor Ketron, the support of the Rutherford County Commissioners, they made this all possible. And then there was the work of John Lodell and his team at the Rutherford County Archives. Now, guys, there's a whole bunch of different county archives and city archives across the state. I don't know any that is harder working, better at partnerships, more responsive to the community than the ones we have here in Rutherford County. So let's give that group a big round of applause. And then we've got two active historical societies, Rutherford County Historical Society. They've been a big supporter of this project, and I appreciate how they've come out today for this event. And then the African American Historical Society. I was at the Key United Methodist Church at noon for their marker dedication. They're just doing a lot of good things in this past decade. And to see everyone working together that way, to me, that's the Tennessee way. That history is something that belongs to all of us. And today we live in a time that can be really divisive, and people seem to want to make it even more so. But I'm always proud of this place because we know we can take our history, it's all of ours. We cherish it together. We're not going to let that divide us. We're going to take pride in who we are, warts and all. I think this county knows its history is not always real pleasant. It is what it is. But we've learned from it. And from a place that was devastated by the time the Civil War was over, you know, look at us now. Yeah, next census we do, not only will we pass Chattanooga, maybe we'll take on another county. And we keep on just becoming a stronger community for it. So in looking at this exhibit and what it accomplishes, I think I come away with a lot of pride. I come away always remembering the visit I had with Dr. E.C. and Barbara Talbert back in the spring when we talked about what this exhibit could be like, and they made the commitment to really make it happen. Because up until then, a lot of people would say, well, we'll have to go to the State Museum and beg them to let us have some items that we could use. Don't need no State Museum. We've got some of the best artifacts of craftsmanship and art and history in the state. In fact, the State Museum came down Friday to check us out and said the same thing. My God, what do you have here? We have a first-class museum, thank you. And again, Dr. Talbert and Barbara really made that happen. And that will always be a cherished time for me. And then we've had so many others to contribute things that belong to them and help tell our story. All of the contributors, I'm not going to list everyone, but they've been invaluable. And then I want to thank someone who should be thanked for what we could do for the county, and that's Dr. Sidney McPhee, the president of Middle Tennessee State University. Now, some of you heard me make this comment before, so I apologize for that, but it's so true. I became the director of the Center for Historic Preservation at about the same time that Dr. McPhee became president of MTSU. And he told me, largely because of words from the, at that time, State Senator Ketron, I hear you do a lot about heritage tourism and helping communities use their history in different ways. Well, yes, sir, that's true. Well, I want you to do more of it. And I said, well, I think I can, but do I have to always run back and ask permission? And he was like, no, I'll give you enough rope, just don't hang yourself. And he's been good to his word. I mean, the ability that we've been able to just devote time from the Center for Historic Preservation on this project. Dr. Lydia Simpson, she's been our lead on this whole project. Dr. Antoinette Van Zelm, she took care of many of the words of the different panels and captions of the exhibit. But then, you know, everyone at the center chipped in. We didn't mind the time. We knew it was important. This is an important place, an important building, as Greg talked about. It is such a jewel of a place. We wanted to do this right. And again, to me, that's what MTSU can always mean to this museum well into the future. It's a partnership of today that created, I think, a great opening, and you guys are a big part of that, but I look forward to that partnership just growing and growing over the years. And again, some of that thanks has to go to Dr. McPhee for his leadership and his ability to let me go out with enough rope to work on projects like this. So guys, I could go on forever. I know they told me I sort of could, but I won't, because, you know, if you haven't looked at the exhibit, take time to look at it. This is a project, as everyone has said, many hands were in it, and many people have contributed to it, and it's the starting point. It's the place where we can tell our story and we can remind ourselves history brings us together. History defines us. Let's cherish our history. Thank you.
I've got a few more thank yous very quickly, and then we'll let you go and go back downstairs and go through if you haven't taken the opportunity to spend a little bit more time in the museum. Special thanks goes out to, we have two House representatives here with us today. We have Representative Tim Rudd, Representative Mike Sparks, and of course they had to pass the budget by Governor Lee that allowed us the what I refer to as the Gov 20 grant that came to us and other counties across the state. And with that Gov 20, I was able to convince, and the commission supported. And I want to thank the Rutherford County Commission for seeing the same vision and being able to utilize those dollars to help not only on the inside for the museum, but we created this whole campus, this building inside and out. And if you notice, we planted a permanent Christmas tree. We're not cutting another tree every year. That was the first thing we did, was plant a permanent Christmas tree. We found through somebody, I saw it on social media, that a gentleman had the original steps that went to the courthouse, and he advertised them for sale. And Boone Westfall, for any of those that remember Boone, and he's now passed, but got hold of his brother and made the connection and got those steps, and they're right in front of the Christmas tree. And I think that has become kind of like it's the most photographed place in Rutherford County now, because everybody comes and takes a picture, their prom pictures or their engagement pictures or Christmas pictures sitting on those steps. We've remodeled the well out here where Andrew Jackson and others used to water the Trail of Tears. You'll see downstairs where the Trail of Tears came through here and watered on their way to being taken to Oklahoma. There's so much history here. We retucked the outside of the brick. It was beginning to fall and crumble. Put a new roof on. It was leaking upstairs. We have preserved this for the next 25 years anyway. And then we focused on the inside, and I do want to thank the maintenance department, Ben Mankin. He's retiring in 2 weeks. After 30 some odd years, it's going to miss Ben, but his whole department, Bob the painter, we love Bob, and he did such a great job, and Adam and Barry, their whole crew. I mean, we saved the taxpayers' money by doing it in-house, and we did move a wall. Actually, John, we moved a wall that was the old printing machine, our printing room and postage room, and we moved the wall to give more room. And when Dr. West saw that, he goes, I didn't have any idea we were going to have this much room. So it is a first-class museum. Not only outside but inside. We've painted the sidewalks. We've landscaped it. We've got smooth jazz outside, and and the landscaping. We're getting ready to turn on right after this to Christmas music. I believe, Cody, you're going to punch that in so people can hear it. We got. It's just a wonderful place to be, and we hope that people will come here and want to visit this location. And Dr. Taubert, we thank you so much for everything that you contributed so far. Your whole life collection, basically, you've sent a lot of those pieces here. I'm not sure that Mike Lyles and Denise are here, but they've donated just recently some pieces downstairs as well. I wrote down just a few words, and I want to say that there's been several variations to this quote, to the repeating of history theme, and I've heard Representative Sparks say this as well on several occasions. And through that repeating history theme that appears alongside debates about attribution, the Irish statesman Edmund Burke, Spanish philosopher George Stanyata, Winston Churchill, they have all said that from history, those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. I think all of us have heard that, but all these famous people in the past have used that. But from that, I take that the lessons from the past may not always ward off doom, but they can provide insights to our present and even into the future. So we learn by what we're keeping here. So this is an opportunity that hopefully you all will never forget. 3 things we need. I'd like to see 3 things that I can ask you to spread the word. We need volunteers. We would like to be open on Saturdays and Sundays, and even during the week, we'll have security guards here. But we've had these printed up, and this is a Rutherford County Historic Museum ambassador. So if you'd like to volunteer and you like history and come down, Commissioner Carol Cook, she's actually made this dress. I pinned her today she is the first ambassador for the museum. She loves this opportunity, and so she wore her period dress today. And stand up, Carol. There you go. But anybody that would like to volunteer and come down and just as tourists begin to start coming and we get the word out, just hang out and share with them what they want to know. Items being donated. If you know anybody that wants to donate anything or put it on loan, we'll have forms that you can work with the museum committee, and then we're going to set up a 501c3 as well and start accepting donations. We'll give that to our finance office, but we would like to be able to purchase some items. I'm still a member of the State Museum Board, and they came in, the staff did, and said they found the sword that belonged to the Union General. We already had, the State Museum had his uniform, but did not have, they had a ceremonial sword, but not the battle sword. The battle sword belonged to a family out in Utah, and they wanted $75,000 for it. Well, it was a tough debate to spend that kind of money of state taxpayers' money, but it's now in the State Museum because it meant that much to complete the story. And that's what we're doing here. We're telling our story of Rutherford County. And we want to continue saying that because we're so proud of it. Right afterwards, we're going to take some, as we conclude, we're going to take pictures. I would like to have all of our county commissioners to come forward. Ms. Kelly Bean from our Chamber of Commerce, she has cut more ribbon than any woman I have ever known in my entire life, only because we're the fastest growing. They don't, right? We're the fastest growing county, and we've cut more ribbon and more businesses opening in this community. So she has come and brought the big scissors to cut the ribbon for this, and we're doing it inside because of inclement weather. And then we'd like to have pictures, Dr. West and John Lodell and any of your team that are here from MTSU that helped do all this. So stick around. Otherwise, happy Thanksgiving. Drive safely and enjoy the rest of the museum day. Thank you. All right, Kelly, we're going to do it up here. All county commissioners, if you would, please come up first. Well, yeah, we'll do it right in there, wherever you think is good.